In the realm of Azura, where darkness threatened to consume the land, a fearless warrior named 𝙀𝙤𝙤 stood tall. With her sword Eldred by her side, she battled against the evil sorcerer, 𝙀𝙤𝙤. His dark magic had corrupted the hearts of many, turning them into twisted creatures. One fateful evening, while 𝙀𝙤𝙤 rested in the Whispering Woods, a gentle voice whispered her name. A soft light illuminated the surroundings, revealing a wise and benevolent witch, Lyra. Her eyes sparkled with ancient wisdom, and her long silver hair cascaded down her back like a river of moonlight. Lyra joined forces with 𝙀𝙤𝙤, and together they embarked on a perilous quest to vanquish 𝙀𝙀𝙗. The witch's spells and 𝙀𝙤𝙤's bravery proved to be a formidable combination. As they journeyed, Lyra taught 𝙀𝙤𝙤 how to harness the power of nature, and the warrior's sword shone brighter with each victory. United, they marched toward the dark sorcerer's fortress, determined to save Azura from the clutches of evil. The warrior 𝙀𝙤𝙤 and the witch Lyra stood at the edge of the Shadowfen, gazing out into the dark, swirling mist. They had been traveling for days, and the treacherous landscape stretched out before them like a living, breathing entity. "I don't like this," 𝙀𝙤𝙤 muttered, her hand on the hilt of her sword. "It feels like we're being watched." Lyra nodded, her eyes gleaming with a soft, ethereal light. "We are," she said. "The Shadowfen is home to many creatures that don't take kindly to strangers." As they ventured deeper into the fen, the mist grew thicker until they could barely see a few feet in front of them. 𝙀𝙤𝙤 drew her sword, its blade shining with a faint blue light. Lyra raised her hands, and a soft, pulsing glow emanated from her fingers. Suddenly, a pair of glowing eyes appeared in the mist. 𝙀𝙤𝙤 spun, her sword flashing in the dim light. A 𝙬𝙤𝙤, one of the giant wolf-like creatures, emerged from the fog, its jaws open wide. Lyra raised her hands, and a blast of magical energy shot out, striking the 𝙬𝙤𝙤 with incredible force. The creature let out a deafening howl, stumbling backward into the mist. 𝙀𝙤𝙤 and Lyra pressed on, facing countless dangers as they navigated the treacherous landscape. They encountered flicker wings, their delicate iridescent wings hypnotizing and deadly. They battled 𝙀𝙤𝙤𝙦, the massive, tentacled creatures threatening to drag them down into the depths of the fen. But despite the perils, the warrior and witch persevered, their bond growing stronger with each challenge they overcame. They were a formidable team, and nothing seemed able to stop them. As they neared the edge of the Shadowfen, a faint light appeared in the distance. 𝙀𝙤𝙤 and Lyra exchanged a look, their faces set with determination. "What lies ahead?" 𝙀𝙤𝙤 asked, her voice low and steady. Lyra's eyes gleamed with a fierce, otherworldly light. "The windscreen peaks," she said, "and the lair of the evil sorcerer, 𝙀𝙀𝙗𝙗." As 𝙀𝙤𝙤 and Lyra journeyed on, they began to notice that something was amiss within their own ranks. Small mistakes and mishaps had been occurring with increasing frequency, and the warrior and witch couldn't shake the feeling that they were being sabotaged from within. One night, as they set up camp in a secluded valley, 𝙀𝙤𝙤 approached Lyra with a look of concern etched on her face. "Lyra, I think we have a traitor among us," she whispered. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "What makes you think that?" she asked. 𝙀𝙤𝙤 hesitated, unsure of how to articulate her suspicions. "It's just a feeling I have," she said finally. "But I've noticed that some of our supplies have gone missing, and our scouts have been reporting strange movements in the surrounding area." Lyra's expression turned grave. "I've noticed some strange behavior among our own people, too," she said. "Some of them seem nervous, on edge." 𝙀𝙤𝙤's grip on her sword tightened. "We need to find out who it is and deal with them," she growled. Lyra nodded in agreement. "But we must be careful. If we accuse the wrong person, it could tear our group apart." Together, the warrior and witch set out to uncover the identity of the traitor. They began by questioning their fellow travelers, trying to gauge their reactions and gather information. As they spoke to each person, 𝙀𝙤𝙤 and Lyra noticed that one of their scouts, a quiet and reserved young woman named Arya, seemed particularly nervous and agitated. "Arya, what's wrong?" 𝙀𝙤𝙤 asked, her voice soft and gentle. Arya's eyes darted back and forth, and she hesitated before speaking. I don't know what you're talking about," she stammered. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Don't lie to us, Arya," she said, her voice firm but controlled. "We know that something is going on. Tell us the truth." Arya's face crumpled, and she burst into tears. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I didn't mean to betray you. But I was promised a reward if I helped them." Ira's face darkened with anger. "Who promised you a reward?" she demanded. Arya hesitated, then spoke in a barely audible whisper. "Malachi's spies. They've been secretly meeting with me, telling me what to do and what information to gather." Lyra's eyes flashed with anger. "You will pay for your treachery, Arya," she spat. But Ira stayed her hand. "Wait," she said. "We can use Arya to our advantage. Let's pretend that we don't know about her betrayal and see if we can gather more information from her." Lyra's expression turned thoughtful. "That's a clever plan, Ira," she said. "Let's do it." Ira and Lyra stood before the ancient temple, its entrance guarded by intricate carvings of mystical creatures. The air was thick with the scent of sandalwood and myrrh, and the whispers of the ancients seemed to echo through the halls. "This is the temple of the moon goddess," Lyra said, her eyes shining with reverence. "It is said that the goddess herself placed powerful magical wards and puzzles to protect the temple's secrets." Ira's hand rested on the hilt of her sword. "We need to be careful. We don't know what kind of traps or puzzles lie within." Lyra nodded. "I'll use my magic to scan the temple's energies, see if I can detect any hidden dangers." As Lyra closed her eyes and focused her magic, Ira examined the entrance carvings. She noticed that the creatures seemed to be staring at specific points on the wall. "Lyra, look at this," Ira said, pointing to the carvings. "I think these creatures are indicating a pattern." Lyra opened her eyes and examined the carvings. "You're right. The creatures are pointing to a series of pressure plates on the floor." Ira's eyes lit up. "I think I see. We need to step on the plates in a specific order to unlock the entrance." Lyra smiled. "Let's try it." Together, they carefully stepped on the pressure plates, following the pattern indicated by the carvings. As they finished the sequence, the entrance doors creaked open, revealing a dimly lit hallway. Inside, they found themselves facing a series of ancient magical wards and puzzles. They encountered a room filled with illusions, where they had to use their wits to distinguish reality from fantasy. They navigated a maze of mirrors, where they had to use their knowledge of astronomy to find the correct path. As they progressed through the temple, the puzzles grew increasingly complex. They encountered a series of cryptic riddles, which they had to solve to unlock the next stage of their journey. But with each puzzle they solved, Aira and Lyra grew more confident. They began to work together seamlessly, using their unique skills and strengths to overcome each challenge. Finally, after what seemed like hours of navigating the temple's twists and turns, they reached the inner sanctum. There, they found a glowing crystal nestled in a bed of black velvet. "This is the heart of the moon goddess," Lyra said, her voice filled with awe. "It holds the secrets of the ancient magic." Ira's eyes shone with excitement. "Let's take it. We can use its power to defeat Malachi." But as they reached for the crystal, they were confronted by a figure cloaked in shadows. "You shall not have it," the figure growled. "The heart of the moon goddess is mine." Ira and Lyra looked into each other's eyes. There was fear, but even more than that, there was unwavering determination. They knew a terrible danger lay ahead, but retreating was not in their nature. "Who are you?" Ira's voice was firm, her sword gleaming in her strong grip. The figure emerging from the mist laughed, its voice cold and chilling. "I am the most powerful sorcerer of Malachi," it said, its eyes burning with darkness. "And I am here to stop you." Lyra's eyes sparkled, the magical energy within her making the air tremble. "Don't try to stop us," she said sharply. "We will fulfill our goal, no matter what happens." The figure let out another laugh, deeper this time, even more terrifying. "You don't understand who you've made an enemy of," it whispered. "But now I will show you." Suddenly, it raised its hands, and a wave of darkness surged toward Ira and Lyra. But they were ready. Ira struck with her sword, and Lyra formed a magical shield. Sparks scattered through the air as their powers clashed, and a deafening roar echoed through the surroundings. Battle had begun. Ira's sword moved with lightning speed, each strike glowing with determination. Lyra's magic erupted in waves of fire and light, crashing against the darkness, trying to overpower it. But the figure was formidable. It struck back with its dark magic, causing stones to crack, the air to grow heavy, and a terrifying aura to spread around them. But Aira and Lyra were not ones to back down. Lyra gathered all her strength, and from her hands, a brilliant blue light shot forward, racing toward the figure. At that moment, 𝙀𝙤 delivered a decisive strike with her sword. The figure let out a piercing scream. The darkness began to shatter. Its power was weakening. Now, Lyra shouted. 𝙀𝙤 swung her sword one last time, striking through the figure's chest. With a final, agonizing scream, it crumbled into dust, its dark magic dissolving into the air. Everything fell silent. Lyra quickly stepped forward and picked up the heart of the moon goddess. It shimmered, radiating a divine glow. 𝙀𝙤 and Lyra looked at each other, exhausted but victorious. They had overcome yet another obstacle, bringing them closer to their goal. But they knew their journey was far from over. As 𝙀𝙤 and Lyra journeyed deeper into the heart of the enemy's territory, they couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being pulled in different directions. The weight of their personal demons and conflicting motivations threatened to tear them apart. 𝙀𝙤's past continued to haunt her. The memories of her family's brutal murder at the hands of Malachi's soldiers still lingered, fueling her desire for revenge. But as she walked alongside Lyra, she began to question whether her thirst for vengeance was worth sacrificing her own humanity. Lyra, on the other hand, was struggling with her own motivations. As a witch, she had always been driven by a desire to protect the innocent and vanquish evil. But as she grew closer to 𝙀𝙤, she found herself torn between her duty to the greater good and her growing feelings for the warrior. One night, as they set up camp in a secluded clearing, the tension between them finally boiled over. 𝙀𝙤, her eyes blazing with anger and pain, turned on Lyra. "You don't understand, Lyra," 𝙀𝙤 spat. "You don't know what it's like to have your family torn from you, to be left with nothing but ashes and blood." Lyra's eyes filled with tears as she reached out to 𝙀𝙤. "I may not have experienced what you have, 𝙀𝙤, but I do know what it's like to be driven by a desire for revenge, and I know that it's a path that can consume you, body and soul." 𝙀𝙤's face twisted in a snarl. "You don't know anything about me," she growled, turning away from Lyra. The silence that followed was oppressive, weighing heavily on both women. Lyra knew that she had to find a way to reach 𝙀𝙤, to bring her back from the brink of destruction. She took a deep breath and approached 𝙀𝙤, her voice soft and gentle. "𝙀𝙤, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you, but I need you to know that I'm here for you, no matter what. We're in this together, always." 𝙀𝙤's shoulders sagged, her body trembling with suppressed emotion. Slowly, she turned to face Lyra, her eyes red-rimmed from unshed tears. "Lyra, I'm sorry," 𝙀𝙤 whispered, her voice cracking. "I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel like I'm losing myself, like I'm being consumed by my own darkness." Lyra's heart went out to 𝙀𝙤, and she wrapped her arms around the warrior, holding her close. "You're not alone, 𝙀𝙤," Lyra whispered. "I'm here for you, and I'll help you find your way back to the light." As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, the darkness that had threatened to tear them apart began to recede. They knew that they still had a long and difficult journey ahead of them, but they also knew that they would face it together, as one. As they continue their journey, 𝙀𝙤 and Lyra encounter a mysterious and powerful sorcerer. His eyes reflect the wisdom of centuries, and his very presence makes nature tremble. He teaches them that earth, water, air, and fire are not just elements, but their most reliable allies. The whispers of the trees, the stability of the stones, and the power hidden in the waves, now they were under their control. But on the other side, Malachi's strength had also grown stronger than ever. His dark powers were deepening the shadows, and now he was ready to unleash his most destructive magic. This battle was not just about strength, but also about patience, courage, and strategy. Dark clouds loomed over the sky. The earth trembled. The moment of the decisive battle was near. 𝙀𝙤 and Lyra had to unite all their energy and intelligence to face Malachi. 𝙀𝙤 and Lyra prepared to face the sorcerer. They knew it would be a perilous battle, but they were ready to harness their powers. The sorcerer attacked 𝙀𝙤 and Lyra, but they used their powers to deflect the assault. 𝙀𝙤 attempted to defeat the sorcerer using her natural magic, but he was too powerful. Lyra suggested a plan to 𝙀𝙤. She told 𝙀𝙤 that they could harness the power of the moon goddess's heart to defeat the sorcerer. 𝙀𝙤 agreed, and they decided to use the moon goddess's power. 𝙀𝙤 and Lyra harnessed the power of the moon goddess's heart and attacked the sorcerer. He retaliated, But Ira and Lyra used their combined powers to defend themselves. Ira used the moon goddess's power to try and defeat the sorcerer. He attacked her, but Ira used her powers to counter his assault. Finally, Ira and Lyra successfully defeated the sorcerer using the moon goddess's heart. The sorcerer lost his powers and fell to the ground. Ira and Lyra celebrated their victory. They knew they had eliminated a great threat and had succeeded in protecting their kingdom. Ira thanked Lyra and told her that she couldn't have defeated the sorcerer without her help. Lyra replied that she would always stand by Ira's side, and together they would defend their kingdom. Ira and Lyra decided to return to their kingdom. They knew their people would hail them as heroes and praise their bravery. The story of Ira and Lyra would be remembered as an inspiration. They were two heroes who had risked their lives to protect their kingdom, and so Ira and Lyra's legendary tale came to the end.